On today's episode, we have the pleasure to connect with Candice West. Candice is the best-selling author of Permission Granted, From Who I've Been to Whom I'm Becoming, featured at NBC, CBS, and, of course, Business Insider. Candice serves as an embodiment facilitator who supports individuals and groups out of their heads and into the wisdom of their bodies. She is currently planning the Permission Granted experience featured at the Sandler Center here in September 12th, 2026. So be on the lookout for her getting some tickets. Candice is also applying her story and somatic teachings as an official partner with MatchMaker VA, Virginia's new and refreshed take on dating culture here in the 757. Her role is supporting contestants behind the scenes to make sure there is a more grounded and realistic experience for both the viewers and the contestants. Welcome to Discover Virginia, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of the incredible people, businesses, and stories that shape the Hampton Roads and Virginia community. Each episode, we sit down with local entrepreneurs, creatives, and change makers who are redefining what it means to live, work, and also play in this region. Now, let's explore, connect, and discover Virginia. Candice, so glad to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, we like to begin every show the same way, asking our guest where they're from originally, and then, of course, what got them to stick around and build their life and, for you, your practice here in Virginia.
So I was born in Bermuda back in 1980. There was a Navy base there. My dad was Navy. And so from there, I grew up in Ohio, the Midwest, so between Ohio and Illinois. And then I joined the Navy and traveled all around, and then when I retired and found my way into divorce, that landed me right back here in Hampton Roads.
Oh, wow. Gotcha. And you were a nurse in the Navy, correct?
I was a corpsman, and then I commissioned as a nurse, yes.
Gotcha. Well, we're so glad to have you here to share your story today. I'm going to pull a line from your book.
Oh, boy.
And I want to hear what it means to you as you sit today.
Oh, boy. Okay.
To acknowledge your awakening, embrace your truth, and honor your journey of transformation.
Goodness gracious. It's so interesting that that's the line that you pulled, considering my experience that I'm creating has got 8 different segments, and literally one of the segments is called The Awakening. And I think that even as I sit here now, like I'm in that now, I think that we're in a constant state of evolving and growth when we give ourselves permission to realize that, well, when we let the ego go, we realize that we're constantly in this evolution of growing. It's like that awakening is like there. It can be dormant sometimes, but it's there. And to be in this book right now, as deep as I am, as I create this experience for September, I'm like reminded not only what is still there to heal, but also like how much I have evolved and transformed. And so it's really wild to be here 2 years later.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know in your book and also in your personal journey, you share about the Colorado mountain experience back in 2024. I'm curious, take us back to that moment, and also coming out of that moment, when did you feel, or did you feel ready to share your story at that point?
Yeah. Oh man, this gets me choked up. Can you hear it? So when I was in the Colorado mountain, it was so serene, and I was surrounded with women I trusted that welcomed me to be vulnerable. I had always felt shame around who I was, whether it was my personality, whether it was how I looked. And it wasn't even just me feeling the shame. I could feel the shame from others, their words, how they looked at me. And being in this open setting, like mountains, trees, just you could hear just nature and just these women. And like, I'm talking, I was butt-ass naked, having to change in between outfits for this whole experience. And my book cover literally is in the Colorado mountain. I got that image very clearly of what I wanted the book cover to look like. And my mentor, she literally poured water in mud and sloshed it and, wiped it and smeared it all on me. And, that root that's there, all of that represents how we are just, man, we are messy humans.
Yeah.
We're messy humans, but like we're humans having the human experience. And being in that place of permission to be able to show up and be just fully exposed and vulnerable, and also being held by people that I trusted, it was really powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing that in encounter, as also too with your mentor, being vulnerable in that state. It seems like there's a constant theme throughout your book, and I encourage everyone to go get a copy. It's on Amazon right now, and also check out the experience coming later in September. But just this constant awareness of somewhat these limitations people put on you, or the perspective of limitation that you kind of inherently accept or begin to accept as others project onto you. I'm curious, what's the first thing someone has to do to really begin to evaluate who they are before they can embark on who they're becoming?
I think they need to have a conversation with their ego. I think that's one of the biggest parts is, all of these things, the way that we act and we show up in the world, they're just these parts that have helped protect us in moments of, uncertainty, stress, trauma. And we get really, really good at either denying them and pretending like they don't exist, or excusing them and allowing ourselves to behave in a way because of what we've been through. So having that discussion with the ego of like, okay, this and also, I think is what really moved me into welcoming all parts of myself to really, truly heal.
What could that conversation look like? Because ego can be, it can be really easy to maybe sometimes confuse confidence with ego, or, creating some sorts of independence, versus like, hey, like you need to take it down a notch, right? What could that conversation look like?
I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I talk to myself all the time out loud.
Sure.
It's a thing.
The best advice comes from yourself, right?
So it's having that conversation. It's like, okay, this is what's showing up for me right now, and I'm seeing a pattern in my life. And the pattern in my lives. Taking a look at that and saying, okay, I keep having these same relationships, and these are the things that keep happening. Or I'm at work and I keep running into the same, problems, challenges. Okay, I'm the common denominator in every single one of my relationships. At some point, I have to look at myself in the mirror and say, okay, what are you doing? How are you contributing to X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
I would like to say it's as simple as that, but I mean, that could be really hard for someone to do.
Just a self-check, kind of recognizing your behaviors and your patterns.
Yeah.
I know in your book you talk about the different eras of your journey, and although they may be very different, I when I was reading through, I kind of resonated with some of them. You have the me era, evolution, blooming, self-renaissance. That was my favorite. Oof. And then, of course, cashing in on your permission slip to be yourself, which I think is, albeit not a linear journey, but I think one that we continually work on. I'm curious for you, these different eras in your journey, which one was the most challenging to write about and expand upon, given the immense amount of life experience you've had throughout your journey?
Yeah. So for me, the one that was the most difficult to write about was, it's terrible that I can't remember what era it was.
It's okay.
But it was the one where my mom kicked me out at 15 because I needed a new pair of shoes. That one was so hard, because it was in that moment writing that I realized it was that point in my life that made me realize having needs is not safe. Like, I needed shoes. My toes were literally coming out the tip of my shoes, and I worked full time. I signed my checks over to her to help pay bills. She got child support from my dad. And so I just didn't quite understand, like, what do you mean? I can't have, a new pair of shoes? And I didn't ask for much. I was just very simple. Like, I could read the room. And so to be kicked out of the house at 15, thrown cash, having to hop into a cab to take me to an airport where I had no money, no food, no belongings. I wasn't allowed to take my things. And then had to hope that my dad was going to buy me a one-way plane ticket. It was scary. And that imprinted in my body and mind for years that, Candice, just don't ask for anything because it's not safe. If your own mom would kick you out for shoes, then my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's taken several years of healing that particular event to where I'm just now in the last probably year have found myself speaking up and claiming things as like, I deserve these. These are okay to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, just the fragility of being a child, right? It's I believe it's the blooming era, kind of when you begin to depart from your home teaching or parental figure teaching into your own sort of independence, which is for a lot of young people, including I'm sure it only feels like yesterday for most of us, but the identifying what is yours, what is somebody else's, what do you hold on to, what do you let go of. I'm curious too, Candice, as you head out of the book into the experience, what is something that you want to add to the book as a part of the experience that you want people to take from that experience with you?
I mean, goodness, we're never done. I mean, just like I had mentioned before, going back into the book, as I create these 8 segments, I see what's still there.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I thought I worked through all of this, but I worked through what my body had the capacity at the time to work through and heal through. And now, because I continue being in the work, now my body is like, oof, let's look at this again now, because you can hold more, you can work through more, you can see it through a different lens. And through that, it allows me to offer so much more grace and compassion and true forgiveness to my family and, old partners that I had and myself. I mean, you read the book, Self-Destruction. But yeah, like there's always room for more forgiveness and love and grace.
Yeah, absolutely. You didn't start a business to work around the clock. You started it for freedom. Too many business owners are still using their time chasing leads, manually following up, answering the same questions, and trying to hold everything together themselves. That's where One in Main comes in. One in Main helps businesses build smarter systems using automation, customer communication tools, and AI-powered workflows designed to save time and support growth. The goal is simple: less manual work, better customer experience, and more time to focus on growing the business. Reach out today for a free strategy call to assess your business technology needs at oneinmain.com. Now, in your journey along the way, you experienced what's known as, somatic healing or embodiment facilitator as a job description, right? But it's so much more than that. Tell me about your first encounter with your somatic experience and what led you down that road of exploring that more as you transitioned fully into that role as a facilitator.
Yeah. It's interesting because I was doing this work without even realizing what it was called. Like I was creating protocols that I didn't realize were somatic until I got into the somatic world. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my body was just called to this organically, which I find interesting in of itself, right? Like, because the body knows. But I actually got on, it was a weekend class offering that my mentor had. And I watched her guide somebody through something. And I was like, oh, wow, like this is powerful, because not only did I watch her guide them through it, I allowed myself to kind of guide myself, like through it as well, as if I was her. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel this. And so I just kept, more and more following this mentor. And then I just got this full body, like yes to a program she was offering. And it's just like, I've not turned back since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were your initial impressions of somatic experience? And were there any, if you will, reservations that you personally had or had in general towards the practice? Because most time in life when we experience something new, we're a little timid or we might be a little reserved or, think more critically about it. What was your experience like?
I just dove right in.
Yeah.
I have had lots of medical issues that were occurring, and I was to the point where I don't want to say I was desperate, but I was like, something has to give here. And when I started I was weaving together like all sorts of different things like Reiki, and I was looking at color psychology and just all sorts of different things. And I'm like, there is something to this. We have more power within ourselves than we give ourselves credit for. And I literally just dove right in, and the way that my body responded to this work and how physically I was changing, and my perspectives and ideas and thoughts, all of it. It was just like this ripple effect that I just couldn't deny was the work of somatics.
Yeah, absolutely. Candice, what's the hardest thing you've ever done before?
Chose myself. Because when you have a family that abandons you, that's that seed is planted. Yeah, it's like, well, who am I to choose myself if my parents wouldn't even choose me? If my partners could walk away after years and years, something clearly is wrong. Like, I'm defective in some way. So yeah, choosing myself.
And since the writing of your book, you've gone on to do many amazing things, which I started to hear about and see online on Instagram, but more recently, the work that you've done as a facilitator and somewhat of a producer role on MatchMaker Virginia. Can you tell us more about what that experience has been like, and the being able to implement your own teaching and thought to something that is typically seen as a facade, a little bit of a fabrication of real life, and to come to an experience that MatchMaker VA is more grounded.
Yeah.
How's that been for you?
Well, I'm here for every bit of MatchMaker VA. It is such a different take on dating, and I think it's so beautifully put together by Josh, and I'm honestly like so honored to be able to be a part of it. And what originally was me just helping to support the contestants through like auditions, and then them seeing the power of the work, and then me being on set, and so helping prep them, and in between sets and filming and stuff like that, being able to be a resource to them has been so much fun. But I think that naturally, like, I've always just been a creative artist through dance and music and theater growing up. And so they just like, hey, we've got this. We want to kind of like move you into this talent producer role. Like your energy, the way that the contestants just gravitate to you, like this would be a perfect role for you. So now I do all of the things. I follow the contestants around. I work with them. I help prep them. And I'm always offering like nuggets of education where I can, just so they can better understand their body and their patterns and the decisions that they make. And it's been really rewarding so far to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's so fascinating too, because on the viewer side, we haven't seen too much of the show quite yet. There's been a little bit of build up and tease, if you will. If you could take us behind the scenes, behind the curtain a little bit, what can folks expect as we continue to see the rollout of the show and your involvement in it directly?
Oh, just watch episode 1. Like, just watch episode 1. And that's what's so beautiful about MatchMaker VA, is because, man, if you're not showing up for the right reasons, you are going to be exposed. And it's not in a bad way. It's like their intention is to really connect people, to help people find their matches and, have their love and their partner, their best friend. And if you are not in it for that reason, it will be exposed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very exciting. We're definitely excited to look on for that. Candice, as we wrap up our conversation today, would love to give you the red carpet to kind of share any final messages. Just got a couple quick rapid fire questions for you, if that's all right.
Yeah.
I see you have a couple tattoos. Any tattoos you mind sharing with us about maybe where you got it or what experience led you to getting them?
Yeah. So faith over fear. And it's funny because I got it and I still live in so much fear and forget that it's there until I see it in the mirror. But I think that fear and worry has been something that I've always had, given the nature of how I grew up. And so it's a constant reminder that fear is one of the lowest vibrational frequencies that we can be at. And so on the other side of fear is love. So if I can just,
Yeah, absolutely. Favorite type of music?
Oh, that's not fair. That's mood driven. I love me some country though. I really do.
Yeah.
Morgan Wallen's
new
my
country
guy.
or old country?
I love me Morgan Wallen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Morgan Wallen. Absolutely. When you're out and about in the Hampton Roads, Virginia area, is there a particular favorite spot you enjoy when it comes to maybe some summer fun or activities to do outdoors?
Oh my gosh. I'm such a fuddy-duddy. You can catch me at Sandbridge, sitting on the bench, watching the waves, Mount Trashmore, watching the kids run around.
Those are classics. Yeah, absolutely.
I love, I'll butcher the name, Colado. It's a coffee place in the Hey Good Shopping
Colada,
Center.
Colado,
Yeah.
whomever, yes.
Oh, I love their chai.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Candice, well, thank you so much for coming on the show today and talking more about your book and the experience. This camera here, let the people know where to go to find more about you and what they can expect when they follow along.
Yeah, so you can find me at Candice_West on Instagram, and I am just a realist sharing the highs and the lows, the good, bad, and the ugly, and redirecting people back to themselves.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the conversation today, Candice. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to Discover Virginia. If there's a person, story, or place you think we should cover next, you can leave us a voice message at 757-509-1518. The show was produced by One in Main Studios. Special thanks to our team, Sean, Michael, and Brady. Don't forget to subscribe, review, and share the podcast wherever you listen. See you next episode.